I'd like to talk about anti-Semitism. Ever since yesterday's video, I have heard from every white nationalist on the face of the planet, and they have informed me that I have no idea how horrible and frightening the Jewish people really are. One of the more outlandish claims is that the Jews are responsible for World War II. What really caused World War II was economic sanctions imposed by Jewish leaders in 1933. Now, did the Jews impose economic sanctions on Germany in 1933? Yes, they did. But let's put that into perspective. Adolf Hitler had just come to power. Adolf Hitler's anti-Semitism was no secret in 1933. He had come to power on the basis of his anti-Semitism. Let's say that Canada was to elect a guy to office who said that I hate all black people, and if elected, I will, kick all the black people out of Canada, and we'll make this a nation free from the black scourge. And all the black people here in America went and petitioned Congress and said, we don't want you to have trade relations with Canada anymore, and they boycotted businesses that did business with Canada, and so on and so forth. Would anyone here, I don't think that would be unreasonable on the part of the black people of this country if that were to happen. And I would hope that most of my audience wouldn't find that at all a peculiar reaction to such an event. So why, when the Jews do it in 1933, in reaction to Adolf Hitler coming to power, are we supposed to be, oh my god, the Jews tried to hurt the poor Germans after the Germans elected a raving anti-Semite to office? Those monsters! And we're to believe that these economic sanctions in 1933 are what destroyed the German economy and forced their hand against the Jews. Yes, I'm sure all those Nazi soldiers had tears in their eyes as they rounded the Jews up into concentration camps. I don't want to do this, but I have no choice. The economic sanctions are too much. I know that's a terrible German accent, but it's the best I can do. June 28th, 1919, that is when Germany signed the Treaty of Versailles, which stated that Germany took full responsibility for World War I, and that they agreed to pay reparations to the Allied powers, and make major concessions in terms of territory, in terms of their resources, etc., etc., etc. This is shit that I learned in junior high history class, yet these white supremacist fucktards can't seem to, just can't seem to recall it. So how did Germany decide to pay the reparations? Well, they decided we'll just print a bunch of money. Printing money at a whim never works. It always leads to hyperinflation. Always. And the German mark became essentially useless. I believe that in 1923 it got as bad as 4.2 trillion marks to $1 US. The German economy was in the shitter in 1923, which is of course what led to the social instability that led to the rampant anti-Semitism that led to Hitler's rise to power in the first place. So the white nationalists want us to ignore all of this shit that happened before 1933 and believe that in 1933 the Jews just got a wild hair up their ass to impose economic sanctions against Germany, which is just fucking stupid. And the funniest shit about this is the guy who said this shit to me claimed that he was once a history professor. What history are you a professor of? The history that happened here on Earth? I mean, are you sure you're not a professor of the history of the venereal diseases that you've contracted or some specialized area like that? But when you try to pretend that you are some kind of expert on world history and you talk about the root cause of World War II without mentioning the Treaty of Versailles even once, and the only thing you can think to blame is fucking piddling-ass economic sanction issued by the Jews in 1933, that's fucking pathetic. You don't know shit about history. Shut the fuck up. Thank you, kindly, sir. Now, I explained in my last video why there are so many Jewish bankers today. I explained how it all started with the moneylenders in the Middle Ages. And a number of anti-Semites said, well, there's nothing wrong with moneylending, that's necessary for a society to function. But what there's a problem with is usury. It's interest, that's the problem. You're fucking stupid. There is only one way to make money by lending money, and that is to get paid back more than you lent out. If I give you $100 and then 2 weeks later you give me $100 back, I don't make any money from that transaction. Now, I might do that for you if I'm your friend, but if this is a business exchange and you give me $100, I want $120 back or $110 back so that I make a profit. I'm not going to just give you my money and just cross my fingers and hope you give it back to me. The only way to make money lending money is to charge interest. Now, sometimes interest can be excessive. Is that a Jew thing? Is that something only the Jews do? You might want to tell that to all the loan sharks out there. You know, when you need money for a somewhat nefarious purpose and you go to a loan shark and he lends you $20,000, but he expects you to pay $25,000 back, or otherwise he sends some goons to your house and clubs your kneecaps and fucking breaks all your teeth. Are those guys typically Jewish? I don't fucking think so. When you think of the guy who sends other people to bust your kneecaps in for not paying your gambling debt, do you think of Jews in that instance? The fact of the matter is, money lending is necessary to trade. Now, in our society, we have regulated trade, so interest rates are controlled. But if you go off the grid and you're using your money to buy drugs or to gamble or something like that, and you go into those unregulated areas of trade, you see that trade is much the same as it was in the Middle Ages. Exorbitant interest rates. And it's not a Jewish thing, it's a human thing. If you have money lending, and you have no regulation, then you're going to find excessive interest. It's fucking staggeringly simple. It has nothing to do with being a certain religion or being a certain nationality. The only thing it has to do with is being human. We're all scumbags. It's not just the Jews, it's not just the blacks, it's not just the whites, it's no one group of people. It's all of us. We're all shit. Thank you.